It's Friday. Let's get after it. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Craig Bennett, aka Cash Cake, back with another NBA Prize Picks video. Massive slate on hand today for the NBA. We have 12 games going. Prize Picks hasn't blessed us with much. They really haven't. There's not a lot out there. So early look video here. I'll just kind of go over some plays, give you guys some stats you can kind of look at, maybe help you in the research process. And there's only really one play on this early board that I do like. So we'll talk about that one, and then we'll go over the rest of the plays that they do have up and just kind of give you some information. So again, if you like these videos, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll keep knocking out these videos, and hopefully it helps you in your decision-making process. But with that, let's dive right in. All right, prizepicks.com is up here. If you do not have an account, use that promo code DFSARMY and get 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Link is in the description below. And like I said, for a 12-game slate being, around 8 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, 8 guys for points, 6 guys for rebounds, 5 for assists, 4 for three-pointers. I mean, come on, man. But hey, we'll talk about it. Big one here, Brooklyn and Washington. We'll go through some of these points here for these guys. Kyrie Irving suspended for 5 games for his mess. So Durant's going to have to do everything, but it's going to hurt this team. Washington having all 3 of their studs, they should be able to win this pretty handily, I would think. Bradley Beal, this might be a shot where, or a spot where he goes off. Like, he's only went over this mark at 21.5 points 4 of the 8 games he's played this year. Juice is on the over at at minus 125. As you can see, he's pretty inconsistent in the point category. Brooklyn is ranked 25th in points allowed, 21st in field goal percentage allowed, 29th in three-pointers allowed. They're just bad defensively. To the shooting guard, 25th. So I think you could take a shot here, but the inconsistencies where I don't really want to lay anything down. Going over to Kyle Kuzma's points at 16.5. As you can see, he started off the year hot where he went over this number in 4 or 5 games, but he's went over this number in 5 of 8. All the defensive stats match up. They are a little bit more stout against power forward, which is surprising. 3rd defensive rank against the power forward. Again, a minus 120 on this over. I think one of these guys is going to go over against Brooklyn. I do. The problem is which one, because when they're all healthy like this, it's really hard to tell you which one's going to go over, because any of these guys could do it. But he's juiced up over. Porzingis 21.5. He's come on late the last 4 games, went over at 3 of the 4. Kind of started off slow where he did not go over this number in the first 4 games he's played. So 3 out of 8 games he's went over this. It's kind of no juice either way. So there's no EV looking at the book value and Prize Picks value. And speaking of that, if you want to see access to the plus EV tool that we do have, you can kind of check this out here. This thing automatically updates, gives you NFL, college football. We got baseball that's ending, man. That's been a fun World Series. NHL and NBA. So this thing updates automatically. If you want access to it, you can check out our Patreon below. We're adding to it. I made an announcement yesterday of things we're adding to it. Hopefully we're adding soccer and NCAA basketball within the next couple weeks, and then doing a few tweaks to it. So, so back to this and see where we're at. Don't really want anything to do with Monte Morris as well. Again, team's full health. One of these guys is going to go over it. If I had to lean one, I would say maybe this is a spot Bradley Beal kind of takes over here, but it really could be anyone. Looking at this Boston side and points going up against Chicago, Jason Tatum, 26.5. That line opened up at 24.5. He's went over this point in 4 of the 7 games. Chicago's been pretty good points-wise, ranked 6th in points allowed, 23rd in three-point percentage, though, and 20th in field goal percentage allowed. So it's already got juiced up a little bit. So I don't know if I really want to jump on this one either or. If you kind of look what he did against Chicago last year, he did go over this in 2 of the 3 games he played, 28, 19, and 25. Played him once on the October 24th, only put up 21 points. It's real hard. Again, when they're fully healthy here with all these guys, it is really hard to decide which one's going to go over. That's why I don't really like these plays, because there's no real injuries. We got other positions on a 12-game slate. There's other places where injury news can, dictate that the lines have not moved enough, and that's where I don't really want to touch these guys. Just looking at Jaylen Brown, same kind of thing here. I just don't want to touch it. You know, Tatum. I'm sorry, Tatum. I was looking at Jaylen Brown's when I was pulling off them stats. I apologize. So Tatum, it did open at 26.5. There's no juice on the under or over, and he actually has not went over this mark in the 3 games he played Chicago last year: 20, 23rd, and 16th, and he put up 26 on October 24th. So Jaylen Brown was the one I was talking about where he went over it and 2 of the 3 games last year, and then he missed it this year at 21. So it's one of those things where who's going to score here? Looks like Chicago's done a pretty good job against Tatum in the past. Maybe you want to take the lean on the under here. But again, nothing I'm super, super comfortable in. Marcus Smart, points wise, again, not super excited about, taking him at 11.5. He's only cleared this number in 2 of the 7 games they have played. Again, it's tough. It's tough to really, I would lean less than 11.5 here, just with what he's done, and those other guys score a little bit more, but he could still clear it. And then we do have Al Horford at 9.5. And they are ranked 3rd against center defense. And he's cleared this number in 2 of the 6 games he's played. Now, the juice is on the over here at minus 130, but again, it's just an absolute mess in the point situation here. Heading over to rebounds for these guys. Let's look at Al Horford at 7.5. Now, he's cleared this both games, the last 2 games, I should say, against Washington and Cleveland at 8 and 12, respectively. But before that, he missed it 5, 5, 5, and 2. It's really hard to trust him here, but they're going to need his size against Vooch. So maybe something you want to look at. But again, it's really hard to trust him. But the juice is on the over at minus 130. Marcus Smart at 3.5 rebounds. He's cleared this in 3 of the 7 games that he has played this year. Chicago's ranked 11th in rebounds allowed, 3rd in offensive rebounds allowed, and 20th in defensive rebounds allowed. Again, juice is on the over at minus 135, but nothing I'm excited about playing. Jaylen Brown at 7, Jason Tatum at 7.5. Again, very inconsistent with these numbers, and I don't just want to be throwing anything out there. Now, Jaylen Brown opened at 6.5. If you're going to pick one of these guys, he's probably the most consistent in rebounds. He's went over this in 4 of the last 5 games. The juice is minus 140 on the over 6.5 number. So if you want to take a shot at a rebound guy, probably Jaylen Brown for me out of the 4. Looking over at the Washington guys here again, and we got Porzingis and Kuzma for the rebounds. Kuzma, has cleared this in 3 of the last 4 games. Brooklyn is ranked 22nd in rebounds allowed, 25th in offensive rebounds, and 16th in defensive rebounds. If we kind of look what he's done against Brooklyn over last year, 13-6, 13-7. Looking at Porzingis a little bit here, see what he's done in the rebound department. Last year, he played him on December 7th, put up 12 rebounds, but he's been just shy of this number quite a bit, only cleared at 3 of the 7 games 3 of the 8 games that he has played. So again, something I kind of want to stay away from. I think both guys could get there, but that number is where it should be. There's no real value in any of these rebound props. Coming over to assist, again, I think there's one play here that we do like, and we'll talk about that one now, and it's Marcus Smart. I think this is a spot where you can kind of look at him to get over this mark. Going up against Chicago, they've ranked 27th in assists allowed. He's went over this number in 5 of the 7 games, so we have some consistent data there. The juice is massive on the over at minus 145. It is a top play on the plus EV tool. If you pull it up, it'll show you that Marcus Smart, it's got a 4% plus EV on this with a minus 162 at the book that we use, which is one of the sharpest out there. So, I think that's the play you're looking at if you're looking for one that's, I have no problem playing with looking at consistency. I'm looking at the defensive matchup, looking at the line odds out on the other books. That's what I'm kind of looking at. Jaylen Brown at 3.5. very inconsistent as well. He's like has one good game, bad game, good game, bad game. So if you look at that in context, he's probably due for a bad game here. So I just don't want to touch a guy like that again. And a slate this big, you just don't need to. Going over the Washington guys, looking at Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn, went over this in 4 of the 8 games he's played. Again, Brooklyn's ranked 13th in assists allowed. Just not something that I really want to touch. Bradley Beal at 6.5, and he's only cleared this in 2 games this year. So maybe you want to lean under at this a little bit. Juice is on the under at -125. Kind of makes some sense. Maybe he's going to do a little scoring instead. Monte Morris maybe do a little bit more of the dishing. Monte Morris at 5. Maybe this is something that you do like. He has cleared this at 5 of the 8 games he has played. Played Brooklyn twice last year, cleared it once, 4 assists in January 26th, and then 8 on February 6th. So maybe you want to look at taking more than that, but again, nothing I'm really pushing. Smart's really the only one that I like. And then 3-pointers made here, just kind of going through everything since there's not a lot up there. Figured we just talk about all of them, give you some stats. Maybe it helps you out. And again, if you like this helps you out a little bit, hit that like button for me, man. Come back and I'll do another video around noon when the full board's up, and we'll knock out some real plays here. Because again, I don't think you should be, digging for stuff like this on a slate this large. Bradley Beal, he's went over this, and 4 of the 8 games he has played, Brooklyn defensive rank against 3-pointers, 29th, almost bottom of the association in 3-pointers allowed, 29th in 3-point percentage allowed. So maybe this is a spot you want to lean over here. It's a good matchup. If we look when he played Brooklyn last year, he put up 3 in both games he played. So I would take this one, and I would lean over on Bradley Beal making more than 2 3-pointers because he is shooting them. If we look at the last 5 games, he has shot 4, 5, 7, 6, and 2. So the volume is there for him, and this is a good matchup for him. Maybe you want to put this one in more. I don't really love these, but since we're just looking for something that looks like pretty decent value, we can kind of look that. Now, the juice is on the under at -140, but looking at the stats, and maybe they just think that Brooklyn's going to just bulldoze these guys and they don't need them, which is something to take into consideration. But that's one of the ones that seems like matches up real well looking at a history. Anytime you take these 3-point percentages, they can be a little bit daunting. Kyle Kuzma, again, went over this in 4 of the 8 games he has played. Again, same stats apply. They're ranked almost last in 3-point percentage allowed. And then look on the Boston side of things, going up against Chicago. Jaylen Brown, 2.5 3-pointers made. Juice is on the under at -135. So only cleared this in 3 games. Chicago's 23rd in three-pointers allowed, 26 in 3-point percentage allowed. So they're giving up some threes here. And he's taken a bunch of them. Last 5 games, 6, 7, 7, 9, and 10. Just not putting up a ton of them. So something I'm going to stay away from. And then Marcus Smart at 1.5. He's only cleared this twice this year. -125 on the over. Kind of look when he did against Chicago this year and last year. He's cleared it in all 3 games, 3, 3, and 3. So I prefer the assist, but if you want to look at this, maybe these Beal and Smart are guys you can look at. But hey, that's the full board, man. 12-game slate. What are we doing, Prizepicks? What are we doing? Let's get some stuff out here, man. It's hard to research 12 games, and we don't put stuff out here. It really makes it a pain. But hey, that's why we got these tools. Helps us. If you want to, again, join the Patreon, we got all that stuff. We got those tools. We got the full models for spreads, totals, those things getting dialed in right now. Really love that. Anytime I see some massive discrepancy, it'll tell you automatically who to play based on the book value and the model value. It's been really good. And then the picks, man. Throw the picks out there. Again, we've been on a pretty decent run over the last couple weeks in both football and basketball, up around 40 units. So hopefully we can continue that trend. And again, have a fantastic Friday, and I'll see you guys around lunch. Deuces.